It's a beautiful day today and we're reading about some entitled parents. It's unbelievable. For once I'm not reading Am I the A-hole? What is going on? But yeah, we're reading entitled parents today and I hope you're excited, guys. Gonna be a wonderful episode and let's get straight into it. Enjoy, guys. My mum keeps trying to convince me to have my baby on my dad's birthday. Hello again. So my baby is due in late November, 3 days before my dad's birthday. I've already found out that it's a boy through DNA testing, while I didn't want to tell my parents their gender, as per previous entitled parents post I've made. I don't know if I've read that post. I'll have to check after we read this one. My husband told me to just tell them because we all know how dramatic they'll be in the future if they find out by anybody else or other means. So I told them. Now my dad is still trying to convince me to name the baby after him. Nope, it's not happening. And then yesterday, my mum, for the second time, tried to convince me to give birth on my dad's birthday. As in, try to wait to go into labour until I'm 3 days past due, like that's something I want to do or could control. She requested it in the family group chat. After I gave a resounding and rather harsh not gonna happen, my parents have been radio silent since. Wow, so from the sounds of your parents, OP, that doesn't sound like a bad thing. Them not talking to you sounds like a good thing. Are these people for real? Edit to add, this is my third baby and will be my second boy. My dad was disappointed that we didn't name my first son after him. Also, it looks like the saga of my parents wanting to visit during the month of my baby's birth will start up, something my husband and I absolutely refused with our second born. We live 15 hours away from my parents, and they're the least helpful and most overbearing people to have around. I documented the saga with my first son, so if you're curious, check out my profile. Wow, okay, so I need to check out these other posts because I'm pretty sure we haven't read them. But yeah, they sound so awful, OP. Like we barely even got any information there, and they already sound so bad. OP has another post here called My Parents Always Make My Pregnancies and Children About Them, and that was also in the entitled parent subreddit. I'm 28 female and currently I'm almost 9 weeks pregnant with my third baby. I live approximately 15 hours away from my parents and I have minimal contact with them because they're so overbearing and so entitled. This one's going to be somewhat of a venting post because I'm dreading how they'll be when the baby arrives. It's due 3 days before my dad's birthday, and when we heard that, immediately it was all about him. With my first pregnancy, my parents were mad that they weren't told the baby's name before everybody else. It was the same day as everybody from close friends to in-laws to extended family. Everybody learned it at the same time. But no, they were mad and they love to bring it up constantly. If you check out my page, there are some disturbing stories about how they were when she, my firstborn, was born. Second child, they were mad that they were the last to know when I announced the pregnancy and his name. Essentially, if they aren't the first, they're the last. They're always competing with everybody that we know, even if they're the people in closest proximity. They wanted to visit the month of his birth. I stood my ground and I said no. Hissy fits and silent treatment followed. I have previous posts on that as well. Visits since then have been annoying to say the least. They hijack an entire week of our lives. They also try to make my brother, who's in his 30s and still lives with them and is treated like a slave, clean my house without discussing it with me. I put an end to it right away. When I announced this third pregnancy, trust me, it was a surprise to everybody, including me. I decided to announce it in a group chat, just so they can't argue that they were the last to know. Well, they called me within minutes and did this whole fake cry routine about, why didn't you tell us yesterday? Can we just collectively facepalm? So now that they know what month and approximately the week the baby is due, they want to visit every year that month. I'm assuming they mean every day that month or every week that month. I didn't even want to tell them, but I knew they'd get wind of it since a lot of our family still lives in the same state as them, and some are not as good at keeping secrets even though their hearts are in the right place. It's going to be fun saying no a lot more. We're visiting our home state in July and are carefully planning it so my parents don't hijack it. Wish us luck. Wow, okay, so there's another post here. I'm going to read that. I'm already sucked into this entitled family. They sound so frustrating, OP. There's another post here by OP that said, my dad wants me to name my baby after him. I'm back. Those that have read my previous post here know how weird and toxic my parents are. Yet I remain in contact with them because my 33-year-old brother is still living with them and I can't bring myself to cut complete contact with them. I have dwindling hope that he'll escape them or even wants to. Well, I, 29 female, am pregnant with my surprise baby number 3. They asked me if I'm going to find out the gender. I have found out with my 2 others. Why not this one? I don't even know why they would ask, but okay, I told them we would. My mum barely hid her scoff. She's so against finding out gender before birth. I don't know why she's so stuck on it. Whatever. So my dad's response is, well, you know, if it's another boy, why don't you name him my name? Wow, the audacity. Okay, number 1, I don't like my dad's name. It's not common, but it's not rare. It's just weird, like Billiam or Blaine or Earl or Melvin. Not saying that they're bad names. If you like them, cool. And 2, I have this weird thing about naming my kids after friends or relatives, especially close ones. I grew up with 2 cousins who had the same name, and my brother is named after a living uncle. It was so confusing. And also, my husband and I have this opinion that if you feel the need to ask somebody to name their kid after you, then you aren't really worthy of that honor. Yeah, that's a good point, OP. I have explained the first two reasons to my dad, but he doesn't seem to want to let it go, and they wonder why I don't call often. Yeah, I can't even imagine dealing with them, OP. Like, they sound insufferable. The top comment says, next time they start the hissy fit, tell them that the reason you do this is because they act like petulant 2-year-olds, and you're already tired of dealing with 3 children, and you don't need to deal with 2 more who are old enough to know better, but obviously don't know any better. Add to that, if they keep this BS up, you might decide that having them in your life at all really isn't worth it, and you'll cut them out of your life. It's time to set some serious boundaries with them. Yeah, definitely OP. Okay, the next one is called Entitled Parent Demanded That We Brought Birthday Gifts for all of her kids and not just the birthday boy. Okay, so first of all, what? So my auntie has 2 kids. One is a boy who is so a bit able and no trouble at all. He's 8. And my evil cousin, who is a girl, is 2. She wants everything. Seriously, if you have something and she doesn't, she holds her breath and won't breathe until she has it, and then cries non-stop until she gets what she wants. Anyway, it was the 8-year-old's birthday and he was having a birthday party. Oh, I already know where this is going. However, my aunt told me that it would be a party for the girl too, whose birthday was in December. What? There would be 2 cakes, birthday banners with her name on it, and people would have to pretend it was her birthday too? That's not the way to handle a situation like this. Oh my god, they're just enabling it. Kid, it's not your birthday. Oh, what a joke. Like, what the hell? How is this fair on the actual birthday boy? Yeah, it's not. Anyway, she also told everybody that we had to bring presents for both of the kids, and if not, we weren't able to attend because it had to be fair to both of them. Oh, get out of here. I did not buy presents for both the kids, but I attended anyway, and it was something from my worst nightmare. Everybody was tending to the girl, and nobody besides me acknowledged the actual birthday boy. People even sang happy birthday to her, taking pictures of her, and she got loads of money and a new bike and stuff. She got double what the birthday boy got. I felt so bad for him, and I saw him crying in his room, so I went up and he said that nobody cares about him. So I argued with my auntie regarding this, and she said that I've ruined the day and I need to leave. What an entitled woman and her horrid entitled bratty kid. Oh, that's so revolting. Please tell me that's not real. Why are these people parents? Oh my god, that's so bad. I can't get over that. So yeah, because your child is a brat that can't handle when the attention isn't on them and can't even handle their sibling's birthday because they're not getting presents and they're not getting attention. So they feel like the right thing to do is to give in to that and to give them presents when it's not their birthday and give them attention when they don't deserve it. That's so unbelievable that they're enabling that. Oh, that's awful parenting. Ew. And like this comment says, show up with presents and a birthday cake for the nephew when the niece has her December party. Yeah, I bet you the nephew isn't getting any presents on the niece's birthday. How could the parents be so blind? They're raising an entitled, awful person. Like, imagine how entitled and insufferable they're going to be when they're older. They're going to feel like the whole world revolves around them and they're entitled to everything and everybody should do whatever they say. And this comment too, when that girl grows up, reality is going to slap her hard in the face. The boy, however, will probably do well, probably get a great job, and probably cut out his family when they demand that he support his sister. Yeah, we read stuff like that all the time. I can definitely see that happening. Yeah, it doesn't do them any favors. Yeah, treating a kid like this doesn't do anything good. And the audacity for them to be like, you have to bring presents for both of them or you can't come. And for your cousin to feel so left out on his birthday that he even said that nobody cares about him. Oh, that's so sad. Yeah, this comment. In 30 years, your aunt will end up with a daughter living at home refusing to get a job and a son that went no contact. Oh yeah, definitely. That's so sad. The next one is called My Mum Ruined My Wedding Day. My mum is very entitled. Weeks before my wedding, she told me my dress was very ugly and I should wear something more sexy and revealing. However, this is the same woman who was so emotional at the bridal store as I was trying on dresses. She even paid for the dress. The day before my wedding, she spent the entire rehearsal taking out her grievances on her older sister. She yelled, "I don't know why the F you're even here," at my aunt in the parking lot. When we were rehearsing, she stood in front of my aunt, blocking her view and obstructing her from taking photos using her body. I was morbidly embarrassed as my friends and my husband's relatives were there, who she was only meeting for the first time. My mum even stooped so low as to walk past my aunt and jump at her with her fist all balled up, like she was going to punch her own sister in the face. I thought everything had calmed down, but no. My mum called the police to have my aunt escorted from the venue. My aunt was extended an invitation to my wedding and her husband is my officiant. The whole time my aunt was just sitting there taking all of this verbal abuse, all the while my mum is making herself look like a complete fool. Once we get back home, my mum is profusely apologizing and promising to behave better tomorrow, which is my wedding day. Oh my god, don't let her come to your wedding, OP. Like, obviously it's already happened, but I hope everything went okay. Oh, that's so awful. Your mum shouldn't have even been allowed to stay there after after she was acting like that. And yeah, for sure not allowed to go to the wedding. The title of this said my mum ruined my wedding day, but the actual post was about before the wedding day. Oh, that's so bad. And like this comment says, why are you allowing her to come? Why did you not put an end to it in the moment? I'm so confused why she was even allowed to stay and to continue to behave like that. Yeah, same. Get rid of her. Yeah, that's so unacceptable. I really hope your wedding was okay, OP. Once again, that's so sad. All these fully grown adult parents acting like bratty children. It's so unbelievable, but so sad when you have to deal with them. The next one is called, ma'am, this is a Wendy's, not a daycare. I just remembered this while talking with a friend I worked with at the fast food chain. It wasn't a Wendy's, but that doesn't seem important for the post. Just note that it was a fast food chain. I was a cashier at this place in high school. The food was so mid. My co-workers were awesome though, and we went through more managers than parents do McDonald's lines. This story starts with a mum and her 2 children. She came into our little establishment, ordered 2 kids' meals, and then left, leaving behind her 2 little kids. I'd never spent much time with children, and I don't really like them. So 2 adultless children in our dining room gave me a lot of anxiety. Are they okay? Can you leave them alone? They're not gonna self-implode, right? I had a job to do and a dining room to clean. After thinking on it, I decided I could clean and just ignore them. That was when I noticed that they weren't sitting at the booth doing whatever it is that kids do when they're left to their own devices, but they were under the table creating art on the wall with ketchup packets. I didn't know what to do, so I did nothing. 4 hours passed by and she came by waltzing in to collect her spawn. Okay, I was fairly accustomed to weird stuff happening, but this is manager notifying worthy. I popped my head into the deep freezer where she was doing inventory and I let her know what was going on. And why didn't you come get me earlier? She asked. I don't know. I thought I could handle it. I'm a big scary teen and they're, well, toddlers. Okay, not my best move, but now aware of the situation and armed with camera footage, my manager lets me know that she'll deal with her next time. 2 days after, and she gives us a round 2, another 2 kids' meals. This time I don't wait and I tell the manager ASAP. My manager goes to serve the lady with a, and don't forget your kids this time, passing her a slip of paper. On the paper was a phone number to a local daycare that charged based on income of the family. Issue handled. I go out to clean the tables and I find these kids drawing on the table with salt. My manager got irate. 4-ish hours later, the mum is back for her kids and my manager approaches. They go outside to have a tense conversation that ends with the woman storming off with her kids. I later found out that she was pissed that my manager assumed that they were poor. My manager was ready for round 3 a week later. She came in, same order. This time my manager takes her order. When I go out to hand her the kids' meal, she's gone, leaving behind her kids. Police arrived real fast, then child services, then the kids were gone and our little fast food chain went back to normal. That was for the next 4 hours. Side note, I'm autistic. Not like very obviously autistic, not the kind that needs a ton of assistance, but a mild brand that will occasionally say the oddest thing. So keep that in mind for when mum comes back. Where are my kids? Oh, it's you again. I'm smiling behind the counter. A couple of guys came in and took them. She went pale. Guys? What guys? What did they look like? When did they take them? What were you doing that you weren't watching them? Well, I didn't get their names, but they looked big and strong and they promised to take good care of them. I didn't talk to them though. That wasn't any of my business. I'm a cashier, not a babysitter. I'd make a bad babysitter. I don't really like kids. Wow, that's so funny. Oh my god, and that's what they deserve. The audacity. Imagine going to a fast food place and leaving your kids there and expecting the employees to look after the kids. Get out of here with that. That's so wild. That's so awesome how you handled that, OP. And like, what do they expect? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to a fast food place and I'm gonna leave my kids here. No, you're not. And also, it makes sense that you guys didn't call the police immediately, because it would have happened the first time and you would have been like, oh, okay, that probably isn't gonna happen again. But then it happened again, and then a third time. Like, oh, this mum literally feels like this place is a daycare. That's so not okay. But man, that was so fun to read. The next one is called Father-in-Law Feels Owed Time with Grandchildren. My father-in-law lives in our town, and for the past few years, since my husband and I moved here and had children, we've seen him regularly, at least weekly, and we have allowed him to be a part of many family events, like Christmas morning or trick-or-treating. The problem is, I can't stand him, and I think recently the fact that he's a perpetual part of my life is getting to me. My husband and I talk about this at length, and I really don't know how to handle it, as he's constantly applying pressure to see us, and when he doesn't hear from us for even a few days, he makes us stink. I'd love to know what those who have local grandparents and parents have in terms of expectations for time spent. Now, for the details, apologies, it was impossible to be concise. Off the bat, important to share that undoubtedly my female 34 father-in-law 78 is a textbook narcissist, undiagnosed as the worst ones are. He was a terrible husband, verbally, emotionally, and perhaps physically abused my mother-in-law and brother-in-law, who's 10 years older than my husband. He really messed up my brother-in-law, who at 44 is also a huge narcissist with depression and other mental health challenges. And he also cheated on my mother-in-law when my husband was 8. Because they divorced after that, my husband miraculously ended up really unscathed and had a great childhood and a fine relationship with his dad, likely due to his mother shielding him and playing the role of primary primary caregiver. In fact, father-in-law somehow managed to remain a part of everybody's life, having some custody of my husband. Brother-in-law was an adult by the time of the split, combining holidays with my mother-in-law and her new husband, and just generally being around. When I first met my husband, father-in-law was in a new relationship with a woman who was wonderful. This was after 3 failed marriages, my mother-in-law being his third, and a long-term partnership of 18 years. When you first meet him, he seems like a character more than anything. Very grandiose, clearly thinks that he's charming and full of anecdotes. Anybody who gets to know him, however, finds that the anecdotes are the same and tired, and he can actually be quite rude, domineering of conversations and selfish and stingy. His girlfriend broke up with him after 8 years, which at first seemed like a shock to us, but quickly was not all that surprising, given how much better she was than him. She explained the breakup to him well, that for all of his good qualities, she simply couldn't handle the bad ones anymore. In particular, how he acted in public, see the rudeness and stinginess and extra pompous behavior. The breakup quote-unquote devastated him, and while he initially seemed to reflect on the feedback that she gave, it pretty quickly became her fault for the split, and he, being entirely alone in his life, became increasingly needy and more present in our life, more than I'd ever known him to be. We had just had our first child, and thick in the throes of newborn life, we weren't able to offer him as much company as my brother-in-law, although I will note he was still seeing us for an hour or so every week. He became increasingly codependent with my brother-in-law, spending many evenings at his house late into the night, attending parties that my brother-in-law hosted, and even vacationing with my brother-in-law and family. Now, brother-in-law also can get irritated at his dad, and their relationship is a constant roller coaster of fighting or being attached at the hip. I'm sure there were complex psychological reasons for why brother-in-law was so supportive of him, but my husband and I later realized that his motivation was at least partially financial. We realized this when we found out that our father-in-law bought a vacation home in an area that brother-in-law loves and put brother-in-law's name on the deed. Now, that situation could be an entirely different post, but very quickly, a fight ensued. Brother-in-law cut off all contact with father-in-law. They sold the house, and 2 years after, they still haven't spoken. This fallout then left father-in-law with nobody, except for us. We tried to keep the same cadence of visits with him that we always had, weekly or so, dinners or quick visits with our children. However, driven largely by the fact that he is really alone, the requests to see us have done nothing but increase. Our ability to tolerate him waxes and wanes over time. So over the course of the last years, we've had times that have been more amenable to seeing him than not. Important to note my use of the word tolerate, because at best, when we spend time with him, it's fine. At worst, it's painstaking. It's also important for me to share the ways that he's guilting us to see him. First off is the explicit, shameless guilt. Oh, I haven't heard from you in a while, or I'm not getting any younger, or I won't be around forever, so I need to spend time with my granddaughters. He is not shy to tell us what we should be doing in terms of involving him. Second is trying to buy us and make us feel indebted through thinly veiled offers to help. This one is where I struggle the most. Years ago, he gifted us a large sum of money, which we've always kept in savings, which he explained was to make us even with my brother-in-law, who he had lent the same amount of money 2 years prior and never received repayment, or even mention of repayment for. Father-in-law said that in doing so, he wouldn't have any worries of inequity at the time of his death when his will would be being executed. I wasn't super comfortable taking the money, but knowing that it was to equalize with the brother-in-law helped. On top of that, my father-in-law has given us significant gifts. He's paid to install a safety fence around our pool. I justified this as something for my daughters and gave us a new washer dryer as a Christmas gift. I didn't really want either of these gifts to happen because I felt they wouldn't be guilt-free because we were able to pay for them ourselves, but father-in-law practically begged as he wanted to contribute as we just moved into a new house. Additionally, my own parents had contributed similarly to our home as well. Again, another way I justified. Since his offers to pay for things for us have not ceased, but my husband and I have agreed that we will not accept anything from him again to avoid feeling associated guilt, it's obvious that his offers are a way to have control. In fact, following his fallout with brother-in-law, he quickly removed brother-in-law from his will, instead bequeathing his share to a local animal shelter. He did this, as he explained to us, because he knew that if he left it all to my husband, we would feel compelled to share it with my brother-in-law. Third and finally, he guilt trips us by constantly comparing what he gets to what my parents get in terms of time with us and my daughters. My parents are also local, much younger, 60, still working, have a house with nursery and kids' toys and treats, and are equipped to care for our children. We see them every week or 2 weeks, but in general, we have more meaningful time with them too. We vacation with them, and they're the backup caretakers for our daughters, keeping them for nights or weekends when we're away, or being backup care on snow days or sick days. And he's constantly whining about not having time as compared to them. And while we could explain all the reasons that logistically my parents get more time with us and the girls, ultimately we prefer them because they're normal, loving and supportive, no strings attached sort of parents, who on top of it all are people that we enjoy being around. And of course I'm biased to my own family, but my husband fully agrees. So all of this huge context aside, I'm really struggling on how to handle him. We've been living in a cycle of excuses on putting off seeing him, and then seeing him when we have to throw him a bone, only to be guilted about it not being enough. Despite his terrible past, he's never explicitly done anything wrong to us, nor is there any tangible evidence I can point to explaining why I don't want him around. He obviously obviously doesn't take feedback either, so a rational discussion about his behavior is off the table, and he's not a normal person who reads the room, so he won't get a clue and back off. I'm wondering though, how much is he owed to see us given all of this? He is a grandfather after all, and my daughters do have fun with him, but they have fun with everybody. And if the answer is nothing or not much, how do we manage making that happen? Yeah, you don't owe him anything, OP. I like this comment. Gifts don't mean that you have to do what somebody says. It's okay to say that you're busy. You are busy. Give the whining the importance it deserves, which is not very much. If you want to be proactive about it, your husband can explain that the more he pushes and guilts, the less he'll see you. If you actually think you can train him into better behavior, that is. If nothing you do is ever going to be enough for him, why bother in the first place? Save your energy. Yeah, 1,000,000%. That's really good advice. Yeah, you don't owe him anything, OP, and you don't owe him anything just because he buys you stuff either. And if he's buying you stuff so he can be like, oh, well, I bought you stuff, so now you owe me stuff, then that's super manipulative. And yeah, that bit where the comment said your husband can explain that the more he pushes and guilt, the less he'll see you. Yeah, I feel like that's a super good thing to do. But yeah, you can only do what you can do, OP. All the best with that. Okay, I feel like that's enough entitled parents. Time for something wholesome. Oh my god, that cat's so cute. My girlfriend's cat snorted and then did this. She's still doing it. Oh, your girlfriend's cat is so cute. Oh, that's adorable. I love cats so much because they do stuff like this. Like, why are you sitting like that? I don't know, but it's so cute. Oh yeah, this one. I got hearing aids today and I cried because my cat purred. I, 31 female, began to lose my hearing about 10 years ago when I was in the military. My husband and I got a cat about 5 years ago. I've never owned a cat before, so I had no idea what kind of noises they made besides meow. So I had no context for what to expect when I heard my cat purr for the first time today. I was laying in bed and he jumped up next to me and snuggled into my armpit. I started to feel him vibrate like he always does, and then I heard it. I was so scared at first. I didn't even understand what the sound was, and then it clicked. Purring isn't just vibrating, it's also a sound. I can hear it. My cat's wandered off now, but I keep bursting into tears just thinking about his purr. We have read this one before, but we needed to read that again. That's so wonderful, and that would have been such a beautiful moment. Even just hearing a sound that you've never heard before, that would be so wild. But yeah, congrats to the person who wrote this. This dog's better at comforting goats than I am at comforting people. Wow, that's so cute. I love you, goat. You're my best friend. I didn't think I'd be looking at a picture of a dog that's besties with a goat, but I'm so happy that I am. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe. And also let me know down below what you thought, or let me know anything down below. How was your day? How was your night? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite pet? What's your cat's name? Let me know. And the comment of the day today goes to C.L. Hinton once again. Ah, the cure for a bad mood. Entitled people with the Vincey fam. Oh, that's so awesome, C.L. Hinton. I really appreciate the support. Sorry to hear that you were in a bad mood. It happens to all of us. Half the time when I'm in a bad mood, I don't even know why. Pretty much a part of life. But yeah, I'm so happy the video made it better. And thank you for the support. It means so much to me. And thank you all for the support, guys. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!